like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, April 24th, 2023. Clerk Kornecki, please call the roll.
Trustee Salella.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Trustee Murphy. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, public comments on agenda items. Clerk Kornecki, anyone signed up?
Yes, Cheryl Tucker regarding item 11A.
Oh, my. As a member of the Park and Rec Commission for over 10 years, and when I wasn't a commissioner, I was a liaison for the Park and Rec Commission. I just want, because you're having a discussion tonight on the board, I just want to give the board and the people of Villa Park a little insight of what the Park and Rec Advisory Commission meetings entail. So as a board, so you can better understand, during your discussion tonight on whether to spend $300 to $400 a month, which comes to about $3,600 to $4,800 a year, to videotape the Park and Rec Advisory Commission each week. First of all, we're an advisory commission. We make no monetary decisions. We make no policies. Our meetings last about an hour to 10 to an hour and a half in length. By the agenda I just gave you all, our meetings consist of listening to the staff updates on monthly activities from the Assistant Recreation Director, Gina, and the Park Superintendent, Brian, where the commissioners ask questions and make suggestions on updates of what activities are going on. Then we get an update from Director Greg Gola. He gives us updates on projects and events going on in the village from his meeting from the village manager, staff, contractors, architects lately, and District 45, which will come across your board tonight, I understand, where he keeps us informed as the commissioners on the dates when the presentations will come in front of the village board, or when the special input dates for special meetings like the Lions Community Center, which we had 3 meetings here in this boardroom that were videotaped, Lufkin Park, which was at the CRB building 3 times for the village to take a part, the feasibility study, which came across this board, and the 2015 Park Rec Master Plan, all that took place in this boardroom where it can be videotaped. There are no presentations given at our Park and Rec Advisory Committee meetings. We do not have presentations by contractors, WB Ocean or William Architect or 3D Design. They don't come to our meetings. They're all presentations given here in this board meeting to the village board in this room where it is already being videotaped. The biggest job that the Park and Rec Advisory Commission does is we make recommendations each year in about February or March on what the cost will be for pool passes, and we bring it to the board for a vote. About August and September, we start having a discussion on what equipment the Park and Rec Department needs and which park we want to get on the budget for the next year.
Okay, 30 seconds.
As a commission, we can make recommendations to the village for a budget for the upcoming year. I'm not quite sure why the board would feel that they need to spend $300 to $400 a month to videotape the Park and Rec Advisory Commission each month when all the grants, bids, contract designs, and all the recreation equipment, buildings, and presentations are all done here in front of the board. They're not made in front of the Park and Rec Advisory Commission. They're made here in this boardroom videotaped so all the people of Villa Park can see it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. So
Okay,
can I get-
also, yes, Donna Knoxon, item 11A.
Good evening. I would like to speak my own thoughts and ideas of taping Park and Rec meetings, as well as other boards and commissions. I want to highlight and summarize emails sent to all trustees, President Kazone, and Manager Harline. Parks and Rec Commission is strictly a volunteer advisory-only commission and make no operational decisions, as well as other boards and commissions, which are also being transparent as no operational decisions are made. To be fair and equitable in promoting full transparency within our boards and commissions, we would need to tape all 12 board commission meetings currently not being taped. Video, cable, fund, economic development, environmental concerns, Board of Fire Police, Historical, Liquor Commission, Parks and Rec, Police Pensions, Senior Concerns, Sugar Creek, and the firefighter pensions. If we do not tape all 12 just listed, we are not being fully transparent. My primary reason for not wanting the taping of the meetings is the cost. The cost for taping per commission per year is approximately $3,600 to $4,500 per, figures from Manager Harline. $3,600 times 12 commissions is $43,200. $4,500 times 12 commissions is $54,000. To spend approximately $43,200 to $54,000 taping all 12 board meetings is listed as wasteful of taxpayers' money. Even to spend $3,600 to $4,500 on one commission per year is not mindful financial spending, especially for a village that recently has faced financial struggles. Per a few past meetings, the objective stated was to tape the meetings to keep residents informed and involved, which is not transparency, but a communication issue. My suggestion going forward be not to tape the board meetings, but to take less expensive alternatives to yield the same results, such as utilizing more social media, especially on larger projects such as Lufkin's, Lax, Ecoterra, Union, and street projects, to name a few. Storyboards at project locations with plans and timelines. Red alerts when any transactions and landscape traffic, etc., is involved. More mention of larger projects with updates in the manager's report. Videos by our social media. Perhaps a better website in the future would be easier to navigate for residents.
30 seconds.
So overall, my concerns is the cost. Money that could be better spent on upcoming projects, that could be better spent on the walking track, basketball courts, baseball fields, etc. Obviously, I myself don't have issues being taped because I am currently being taped. The bottom line is cost. I do feel strongly that communication needs to be vastly improved at village level. This is not a transparency issue when the information is out there. The overall issue is communication to residents. I ask that we consider to search alternatives before making a quick decision and postpone till a further date.
Your time's up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I also have another person, Carrie Alfano, item 14.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Alfano. I am a commissioner on the Fund Commission, and I have been asked to just bring up a couple of things that are coming up on our calendar fairly soon. Just a reminder that the 60th anniversary of the Illinois Prairie Path Cleanup will take place this Saturday from 9 to noon. The Fund Commission is coordinating Villa Park's efforts and handing out water and snacks, and will exchange free ice cream cone coupons to Creme for kids that fill a whole trash bag that day. And we will meet at the Villa Park Historical Museum Pavilion on the Prairie Path off of Villa Avenue, beginning at 9. We will provide the trash bags, and folks are advised to wear long pants and bring work gloves and grabbers if they have them. And for more information, folks can reach out to us at pride@invillapark.com. It's also time to break last year's record for the oldest tree in Villa Park. Last year's record-winning tree was at the corner of Villa Avenue and Madison, and it measured at approximately 189 years old. However, the Fund Commission has heard that there are possibly trees in Villa Park that could be as old as 300 years old, and we need everyone to go out and look for those trees. There are entry forms available online, or hard copies can be picked up and dropped off in the contest box at Village Hall or the Villa Park Library. A $50 Visa gift card awaits this year's winner. The contest runs through June 21st, and the winner will be announced at the July board meeting. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Karen.
I have no one else.
Okay, anyone else, public comments on agenda items? Okay, I have one email that was sent to me by a resident that asked to have this read into the public record. This is from Holly Sloan. As a resident who's concerned with park and recreation issues, I saw the agenda included discussion regarding the issues of videotaping the Park and Rec Advisory Commission meetings. I wanted to give trustees some thoughts to consider. Overall, I am not for videotaping all PRAC meetings. I think there are some compromises that could be made on this issue. Number one, agenda indicates if the board is particularly concerned about discussions of certain projects, it would be possible to broadcast those meetings if sufficient notice can be provided to Suncom within 48 hours, who is our videotaping company. That seemed like a good first compromise. If there was something important going on the meeting, could be videotaped. Number two, as Trustee Kumar noted at one of the meetings, the commission meetings could be audio recorded, posted online. I think this is a viable option for those that want to hear what went on at the meeting but can't attend. Number three, I used to attend these meetings regularly and know that one of the commissioners is in a wheelchair. To require him to go to Village Hall and go up on the dais to fully participate in the meeting may not be feasible. I know the building is ADA compliant, but not sure about getting up on the dais. Number four, if the board does vote to tape the PRAC meetings, if commissioners don't want to be on camera, they should be given the opportunity to participate off camera. Being video recorded was not a condition of service when they agreed to be on the commission, so they should be given an option to opt out. Cost is also a factor the board should consider. If you videotape all of the PRAC meetings, why aren't you videotaping all of the other commissions if that is the only way there is full transparency? I am pro-transparency, but don't feel like the videotaping of the PRAC meetings is solely a transparency issue, especially if people can get that information through other means. Based on conversations I've had with residents, I believe they are looking for additional information about all the changes that are happening in the village, particularly for the new recreation center and the new developments that are being built. Having additional updates go out via social media, available on the village website, or in the village newsletter would provide residents with that information they seek and reach more residents than videotaping. I urge the trustees to think about the options available to them, consider alternatives, and weigh the future ramifications before deciding to vote on this. I paraphrased a few things, but I will give this to the clerk, and she can enter this into the public record. Thank you.
Mr. President. Mr. President,
Yes. Go ahead.
I also have an email from a resident that would like to be written,
Sure.
spoken to record.
Okay.
All right. My name is Melissa White, and I'm a resident of Villa Park. I'm writing to the entire board in hopes that my voice will be heard regarding the agenda item referring to the taping of Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. Unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict, I will not be able to attend the meeting to speak in person. I am in favor of the Park and Recreation meetings being videoed. Recently, I was able to see the April 10th Village Board meeting video because it was made available to the public. Therefore, I was aware of the agenda item for today's meeting. The PRAC will be making several decisions about multi-million-dollar projects on behalf of the residents and taxpayers of Villa Park, in addition to programs and changes to existing programs and events. Due to the importance of these votes and the impact they will have on residents, meetings should be open and available to all residents, including those who may be unable to attend, in the same manner as the village board meetings. If we rely on agendas and minutes alone, those who are unable to attend the meetings will be a month or more behind, resulting in votes, decisions, or meetings with professionals to have already taken place. Operating in this manner prohibits the residents' voices from possibly being heard in time. Understandably, some committee members do not want to be videoed for the public. However, if a person volunteers and chooses to be on a committee or a board for something that is very public, they forgo that option, especially with the Open Meetings Act that states any person may record the proceedings of an open meeting by tape, film, or other means. I acknowledge that the fact that there is a cost consideration to weigh in this decision. In my opinion, in the weight of the decision on taxpayers being made in these meetings justify the expense of making the meetings accessible to the public. Regarding the comment about the individual who did not want to be filmed due to a disability, as long as any necessary accommodations are made for that individual, then that person should be considered the same as the rest of the committee members. There certainly is room for discussion on compromise that takes into account those who oppose videotaping these meetings. One such possible compromise would be to have a committee member's voice be heard but not be on camera. I am aware that there was a proposed suggestion by the committee to video portions or only certain meetings. However, I do not feel this proposal is viable since the decision on what should be made public lies solely in the hands of the committee members. Thank you for reading my comments and your thoughtful consideration of recording our future PrAC meetings. Melissa White.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, move on to item number 4, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments? And just as a note, there was a item 9A. There was a groundwater use ordinance that was originally on the agenda tonight, but that was taken off due to, we did not have complete information on it, so that will be on May 8th's meeting. Okay, move on to item 5A is National Safe Boating Week proclamation. And this is a proclamation recognizing May 20th through 26th, 2023 as National Safe Boating Week. Whereas recreational boating continues to grow as a popular way for millions of Americans to relax with their friends and families. And whereas the U.S. Coast Guard and its federal, state, and local safe boating partners encourage all boaters to explore and enjoy America's beautiful waterways responsibly. And whereas the Coast Guard estimates that human error accounts for most boating accidents, and that life jackets could prevent nearly 83% of boating fatalities. And whereas through basic boating safety procedures, carrying life-saving emergency distress and communications equipment, wearing life jackets, attending safe boating courses, participating in free boat safety checks, and staying sober when navigating, we can help ensure boaters on America's coastal, inland, and offshore waters that they stay safe throughout the season. Now therefore, it be resolved that I, Nick Cazzone, President of the Village of Villa Park, do hereby proclaim the week of May 20th to May 26th, 2023 as National Safe Boating Week in the Village of Villa Park, and urge all those who boat to practice safe boating habits and wear a life jacket at all times while boating. And I believe we have a couple of Coast Guard officers here that would like to say a few words.
Hi, my name is Glenn Nystrom. I think you guys have all heard me before because I've done this before. But so I'd like to introduce our West Suburban Flotilla Commander, Evan Sheriff, to just say a few words.
I want to thank you, Mr. President, for this honor of the board and the village for taking the time to recognize this week that we have this year. The United States Coast Guard Auxiliary is a component of the U.S. Coast Guard that is comprised of uniformed volunteers. We're currently over 22,000 members strong, and we were founded in 1939 because of an increase in recreational boating accidents and other citizens who are getting involved in accidents, drownings, and fatalities on the water. We act as a surge capability for the Coast Guard in this mission, and we've grown over the years to now operate in all civil missions of the United States Coast Guard. Of course, with our original mission being recreational boating safety, we take this time each year to recognize and to promote the responsibility of boaters and to preserve the life of our fellow citizens at the sea. Now, it may seem odd at first glance that Villa Park may have a flotilla that's operating in the United States Coast Guard, but I assure you that we are located in a very unique area in the United States. We're in an area where us, as members of the Coast Guard, as well as our citizens, boat on coastal waters on the Great Lakes, on the Illinois River, that's the gateway to the heartland, and the chain of lakes. And we work across our areas to provide safety, life-saving, and support to the Coast Guard and ultimately to our fellow citizens. So again, I want to thank the board very much for this decision. And as a final plug, our Flotilla 4111 does meet here in Villa Park, and we are always seeking new members who are looking to step up and serve their fellow citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Where do you guys meet?
Calvary United Methodist.
Yes.
Excellent, great, thank you.
You want me to just, would I just get the proclamation?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Would you like a copy?
Take a picture.
Second, we have a picture of this?
I'm gonna take, I'll get somebody else.
A picture with us, or?
For him handing it to you? Yeah.
Yeah. Go on with the board in front of you.
There you go.
Thanks.
That's not right.
Sinking the ship.
I might. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's why we need cardboard cutouts on a budget for next year. That's what I
So I can post it.
It might have, yes, we better keep it.
Got mine?
See?
Okay, we will move on to item 6A, is a presentation of the 2022 Green Champion Award winners. The Environmental Concerns Commissions would like to present these awards to Angie and Tony Rojek in the Salt Creek Sanitary District for their actions to protect the environment. And we have Bob Wagner from the ECC.
Thank you, President Kazone and Village Board. In 2016, the Environmental Concerns Commission created its Green Champion Award Program to recognize any outstanding environmental achievements of individuals, groups, organizations, or companies in Villa Park. The annual Green Champion Award is presented in any of the following 9 categories: energy efficiency, renewable energy, conservation of natural resources, recycling programs and use of recycled content products, green produce and use of recycled content materials, water conservation, transportation, outreach, and education, and other innovative projects and programs. So this year, the Commission chose to present the award jointly to 2 individuals and also to a unit of local government. The first one is kind of bittersweet. The first recipients are Angie and Tony Rojek, who are here today, and they were nominated by resident Justin Schlensky, and I will read from his nomination. From February 2015 through its sale, Angie and Tony owned and ran Pioneer Garden and Feed, a staple of the Villa Park community. As owner-operators, they demonstrated consistent and appreciated stewardship in providing Villa Park and neighboring residents with quality garden-related plants, shrubs, herbs, flowers, soil, and much more. Their product line also contained items that benefited pollinators, which we are in dire need to protect. Additionally, they employed Bill Carges as their staff botanist, who received the first Green Champion Award back in 2016. Despite selling the business in 2022, Angie and Tony were champions in our community, and I can think of no better way to honor their legacy than by nominating for the Green Champion Award. So, Angie and Tony, come up.
Thank you. It was an honor to have Pioneer as long as we did, and we are glad to keep it around. And we continue to help people as much as we can to be stewards of the environment. Thank you.
And Ellen Draconis, my fellow commissioner, is going to make the next presentation.
The second recipient is the Salt Creek Sanitary District, and they were nominated by resident Victoria Fitzmaurice. I will read now from her nomination. In addition to treating the wastewater from businesses and residents in Villa Park and complying with the strictures of the Clean Water Act along with the EPA and IEPA requirements, Salt Creek Sanitary District can boast of the following sustainable and green initiatives. The district purchased a plug-in hybrid vehicle for use when conducting district business. The district recovers methane gas emissions from its anaerobic digesters and uses it for its boilers. The district started using a UV light process to disinfect wastewater, and this was done to eliminate the use of chlorine. The use of chlorine can create a potentially cancer-causing byproduct called trihalomethanes. The district will be installing a new updated UV system in the next 2 years. The district collects cooking oil from residents, which is turned into biofuels. The district recycles all polymer totes and plastic containers. Sludge, which is a byproduct of the waste treatment process, is contracted to be hauled away and is spread on farmland that grows crops to feed livestock. The district envisions a long-term plan to construct canopies over some of its sludge drying beds and to install solar panels on top of those canopies. We're delighted to be able to have an organization close by that does all this and with such a focus on the environment. So the plant manager, Jim List1, yes, is being presented.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the staff at Salt Creek Sanitary District, every day is Earth Day over at Salt Creek Sanitary District. We work every day to try to, meet and exceed on our permits to do the best job we possibly can, and we do it day in and day out. And I appreciate the award, and thank you.
Thank you.
The commission would like to thank Positive Impressions on Villa Avenue, our local business, for their help in creating the plaques for the recipients, which are created from recovered wood. And thank you to the village board for allowing us to advertise environmental concerns in this way and to recognize these worthy honorees. We want to remind you about our meeting, open to everyone, on this Thursday night, Arbor Planting Day on Friday morning, and then the Prairie Path Cleanup on Saturday. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. A picture? Sure.
No. This gets a little crazy. Yeah, I'm not going down. That's
We got to get out of the way. They're going to take pictures.
no, they won't see us.
Okay, ready? And one more. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to item 6B, is the Hawthorne Ecoterra development status. Mr. Hairline.
The representatives are here from Hawthorne Development Corporation, Inc., and Burridge, Illinois. They have been obviously working on the Ecoterra project, and they are here just to give us an update. And, I mean, everybody, we've received numerous emails and comments from the staff, from the public about the nature of the project, and people have noticed that it is stalled. And so they've been asked to update the village board and trustees, explain how they're going to move forward under the current redevelopment agreement. They should be preparing to transfer the village parking lot that they have constructed, and this would complete a transaction whereby the village transferred Hawthorne for the apartment project. So Dr. Vish, if you'd like to make a quick presentation, and there may be questions.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. As you know, this is a signature project for the village as well as for Hawthorne, and we are very mindful of that. And what happened to the rest of the economy, we hit some rough patches due to supply chain issues and interest rate hikes, inflation, and contractors unwilling to lock up the prices. They are ready to lock up prices for 30 days. How do you lock it up when concrete is needed some 6-9 months from now? So all these challenges, but we are going over those challenges, and we will be, we have finished certain things. That is, the parking lot is completed. We'll be turning over to the village very soon. And in spite of these challenges, we have managed to somehow reduce some cost a little bit, compared to where it went up, and it bring in some additional equity, with the result that we are hoping that within the next, I would say, 3 to 4 months, we will have our larger construction loan in place, and we will be digging.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any questions? Or Trustee Patrick?
Thank you. Could you, you said 3 to 4 months, so where does that bring us? What are we looking at before you're breaking ground?
We are right now in April, so May, June, July, August.
And that's when you plan on actually breaking ground for this?
Yeah, there will be some work going on, but I'm talking about heavy excavation, and we'll be doing some ground improvements.
Okay.
But foundation and concrete and all of that, will be taking place in that time period.
A lot of the complaints that I'm hearing about are the piles of rubble, piles of dirt, and we just want to make that look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So we were just wondering how we could go about making that look a little bit more appropriate in the area.
We intend using them during construction, so this is material that we need.
Okay, so in 3 to 4 months from now, by August, we should start being to have that done then?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
If I may. So, do you have the funding for that start date secured, or is that still contingent? Is that something you're still waiting to find out about for sure? How certain are you that you can really start on that day?
We are fairly certain, yes, because we made huge amount of progress in that.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes. Can you share with us, please, your target completion date for that development?
We will start renting the place, say we begin in August. I would say about 15, 16 months from that start date, which would put us in, so we are in 23, so 24. So say January 25, we'll be ready to start renting. And so will be, of course, the construction would not be completed, but we are assuming if we can get floor by floor certificate of occupancy, we will start to move in our first set of tenants.
And just one more, and there will be continuous work efforts underway that entire time?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Trustee Corkery?
About how much capital do you still have to raise? Are you almost there, or how big is the gap between what you have for certain and what you need?
Capital is not the issue, it's just a matter of underwriting the deal. So their underwriting criteria and standards under the new interest rate regime have changed, and so they have to. So that's what they are doing right now. So we are not worried about capital raising.
All right, and you're very confident in that process?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
The parking lot that's going to be conveyed to us, there's still, I believe the apron has to be poured. When will that be done?
Nick?
The parking lot that you're conveying to the village?
On Beverly,
Yes.
not the asphalt and asphalt, we were gonna use that for staging. I mean, I could pave it as soon as the plants are, I think, open up this week, or we already have opened up. I mean, but we use that for staging. So I could do it, but then we have to redo it after, if we park our, the trucks.
Well, that parking area is supposed, that's part of the RDA, that's the first thing that's conveyed to us, is that parking lot.
I'll get it
Yeah,
fixed.
yeah, because it,
But we have talked about closing the street off and using the street for staging area also. And that parking lot won't be great, I could put 4 semi-trailers in there, like in the free.
would you please come up, just so you can speak? And just give your name, please.
Yes, hi, Nick Pancato.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that area, I mean, I can get it paid for you, but like I said, we did talk about closing the street off and using it for staging area. And I can, stack 4 semis in there with materials on it.
But that, I don't know, what, is that part of our agreement?
The idea of using that as a staging area was brought up at the meeting on the 13th of April. By itself, that isn't a, deal breaker kind of issue. We can work with that, and certainly using Beverly for a staging area has been considered for some time.
Okay.
The bigger issue is the transfer of the property and how to handle the transfer of the property without having that is part of
Right.
completing the parking lot. So, we may need to do either an RDA amendment or some sort of side agreement or something like that. So that's an issue that needs to be worked through.
Okay.
And we need to know, because the village has transferred our part of our property, but we were waiting to get the property that's supposed to be transferred to us.
Well, I mean, with some of the, I know we get that worked out. Something we get worked out, but, on the big, picture, it's a minor issue.
It's a minor issue, but to the residents in Villa Park, it's a major issue. I mean, because, so we gave you our part, and, we should get that back, so. But, yeah, we'll let staff work on that, on getting that squared away. Okay, thanks. Mr. Kozar.
Well, along those lines, what do we have to do to take title for that parking lot? Like, regardless of it being paved or not? If we've given you our portion of the property, I mean, tomorrow, can you sign off on the portion that you're supposed to give to us? And then we can pave it after the fact?
Please be able to.
Probably.
Could you, yeah, please, yeah, come, yeah.
We should be able to give you that parking lot in short order.
What would short order be?
I would say a couple of months.
Why a couple of months?
Because there was an error made, in the lending institution by some error, they just included it in the collateral, so we are trying to release it because it should not have been there at all. So that's the negotiation we are doing right now.
That's why it's not transferred to us, because you've got it leaned up and you can't transfer it to us.
But we will get it, we are negotiating with the lender because it was just, I don't know how it happened because it was an error made by the lender. It was not intended at all. Because we don't need it. We don't need it for any reason. It's just, I don't know if you call it Scribner's error, lawyer's error. When the title, there are so many parcels. And so that's what happened, but we will get it released.
So, all right, so you leaned up our lot, right? When's the last time you talked to your lender? about this particular issue with the parking lot?
Well, we talked, I would say, as late as last week.
And they're just refusing to?
No, they're not, nothing like that. It's just that the legal,
Just trying to understand why it would take, if they're not refusing to release the lien, and it's part of the agreement, we give you this and you give us that, and then as you say, it's an error, and everybody agrees it's an error, right? Is that what you're telling us?
yes, so.
Okay, so everybody agrees it's an error.
It's just the process, it's just the process. So, I mean, I can give you an update, maybe in a couple of weeks.
It feels to me like there's more to it than that on the parking lot. I mean, I do real estate every day, all day long. I know if everybody agrees there's an error on putting a lien against the property, using it as collateral, and,
It was not needed at all, so.
okay. So it should be something that's easily remedied. We could have it done by the end of the week.
But
Unless, in fact, it's not an error and there's more to the story that.
that little thing is not really contributing to anything, really.
So do you think we can have it done in the next?
We'll talk, we'll talk to the lender and make it happen.
Who is your lender?
I'll give the information.
Isn't it part of the public RDA?
Not the mortgage holder. I mean, you can find it out. But
Okay,
It's,
we'll find that out.
yeah.
Can we have a response by the next board meeting? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
And then, here, while you're still up there, I think trustee Corkery asked about, you've raised the capital, and you told him you're fairly certain, but you're not certain of it, so you're just working towards that.
I don't want to, I don't want you to misinterpret. I mean, it will happen, it is happening, and I can assure you it's happening. I mean.
Okay, so you said that also you're working on the underwriting. Can you explain that in more detail for us?
Well,
What does that mean?
That's for the lender.
Okay, so you're still working to get a loan for the property?
Yeah, the loan is a process, so it's happening. I mean, I can't tell you.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Like, when I hear you've got the financing, but it's still going through underwriting, to me, it just sounds like you don't have the financing, which is okay. I just want a straight answer.
No, it's, you see, when underwriting is a process that takes, a few weeks. It's not like overnight. So we know it's over $125 million project, so it's not going to happen just like that.
Right, I understand that. Okay. So you're still working on getting the financing for this project, is what it amounts to? And if that's the answer, that's okay. I just want to know where you're at with it.
We are working on it, and it's supposed to close in about 3-4 months, 3 to 3 months or so.
Okay, so you'll know if you have the financing in about 3 or 4 months?
We will have the financing. It's not if we will have the financing.
Okay, and I appreciate your optimism on this. I'm just trying to understand it for everybody.
We will, are you done?
No, go ahead, I might have some follow-up.
We will likely have to get some amendments to the RDA, though, correct? Because, we are behind, I wouldn't say defaulted, but we are supposed to have the demolition permits expired. There's an installment for the building permit that was due March 1st.
That should be, you should be getting that money in a week or so.
Okay. But, and now with some of these financing issues, are we going to have to do some amendments to the RDA?
I don't think so, but we will review that because we are giving up our coverage. So there is enough coverage that we may have to give up. to cover any shortfalls if it ever occurred.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to address that probably in a couple of weeks, I would think, or a month. And, once our new boards is slated up here.
Okay.
Okay.
So my only follow-up was, you're looking to break ground in August,
Yes.
right? You won't be through underwriting, you won't have a loan until at least August. So between now and August, are we to assume that nothing will happen with the property?
No, we will be doing, our work.
What would you,
well-
for example, what will you be doing?
Well, there is a part of, one of the funders has some, they want to have some design changes made, et cetera, to fit their equipment. So one of the people who is funding, so we may make some minor changes there. So there are a few things. So these will all may not be work on the ground, may not take place, but we'll be doing other work.
So, to clarify my question, in the next 3 or 4 months, will you be doing any work on the ground on that property?
If the financing closes sooner, we will do it.
Okay, but not until you get the financing, and you're not predicting having that until August?
That's correct.
So between now and August, I think to Kevin's question, can we level those piles and at least make it look a little more amenable to everybody? A little cleaner, a little neater?
I think.
Can we rent a Bobcat and smooth those out? That should be minimal money.
It's not that, it's just a matter of we are going to use it in construction, how do we,
I'm not suggesting you remove it from the property. I mean, right now, we have a metal fence with mounds of dirt and material and whatnot, and it's very unsightly, and all the neighbors have to live with that. So if you're not planning on doing anything to the property for 4 months, and we're hoping that you get financing, and believe me, we're hoping that you do in fact get the financing, in the meantime, you say you do have some money available, can you rent the appropriate equipment and level that property and make it look nicer?
well, I will investigate that.
And when you come back to the board in 2 weeks, can you tell us if in fact you're going to do that or not?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Trustee Corkery.
I just want to confirm then too that we will be getting an update at our next board meeting regarding the conveyance of the parking lot back to the village
Yeah.
and anything to do with removing the liens from the property and all that?
Yeah.
Next 2 weeks, all right.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, move on to items 7A and 7B. Minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting and the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees on April 10th, 2023, and the bill listing for the weeks of April 10th and April 17th, 2023, in a total amount of $222,074.82. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make that
Trustee
motion.
Murphy? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Corkery? Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 8A is a reappointment to the Environmental Concerns Commission. It's a reappointment of Commissioner Ellen Draconis for the term of May 1st, 2023 to April 30th, 2026. Do we have a motion on the reappointment? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Corkery? Hey, questions or comments? Hey, Clerk Renecki, please.
Hey, Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, item 10A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Villa Park School District Number 45. Manager Harline.
Thank you, President Kazone. First of all, I just want to start before I read the entry that we do not have a an agreement that I feel is ready to be adopted, and our agreement and what the District 45 last looked at are different in some important ways. But I will say the village staff met with Villa Park School District number 45, D45, representative of Villa Park Youth Baseball, and our staff to provide the best possible youth baseball program for community. D45 has expressed interest in negotiating a new intergovernmental agreement with the village to provide help with specialized maintenance, setting the fields, striping the fields, to the infield of the school district's baseball fields located at Jefferson and Jackson Middle School. The board is asked to authorize the village manager to enter into an agreement with IGA with District 45 to allow village staff to assist with setting fields for the Villa Park Youth Baseball Association on D45 grounds, and work with all parties to make sure that youth baseball is supported and can proceed as planned this season under the guidance of the proposed agreement until formal agreements are made. So just real quick, to summarize, we're close to an agreement with all parties. All parties agree that the number one goal is to make sure that baseball is played and that the youth baseball program is viable, functional, safe. All parties agree that the village is the proper party to do what's called setting the fields, which is dragging the fields, preparing the mound and other parts, and drying out after a rainstorm, etc. The youth baseball had accepted the terms of a $15,000 contribution towards the maintenance of the fields. This is how much they spent last year, and for years there was a $10,000 payment to the village. And then last year they gave $10,000 to the village, $5,000 to the school district, who was setting their own fields. The D45 board has reviewed the agreement, and that is included in the packet for discussion only, the one that came from them. The amount of the contribution from D45 is still being discussed by their board. Use of D45 indoor recreation facilities has also been discussed. We are building a better relationship, I believe, with D45, and getting this done would be a step in that direction. So the key elements would be some kind of a contribution from the D45. The village would set the fields, accept the payment, would set the fields, and we'd exchange insurance, certificates of insurance, and then do a separate deal with the Youth Baseball Association for our fields and for our, to make sure that our staff is held harmless for our activities in setting the fields for youth baseball on D45 fields. So there'd be two agreements that we'd enter into, one, an IGA with District 45, and then a separate agreement with youth baseball. That we should have that ready. We could have it ready as soon as the 8th. The season will start before we get all this done, which staff is comfortable with, the youth baseball is comfortable with, D45 is. We'd like to see something done before the end of the year, or it will probably be another, once out of sight, out of mind. I think now is the time to act and move forward. So.
Just a point of clarification. The actual agenda does not have the resolution attached to it.
Okay.
Has this board? I just want to make sure that my digital agenda is the same as the other board members. I don't see the actual resolution on it.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
It is not on there. Must not have gotten attached.
I do have a copy that can be presented to the board, and we can you can either adopt the resolution as presented. We can have it printed and presented, or once these agreements are finalized with both District 45 and youth baseball, those agreements can be presented to the board at a subsequent time for approval. So, I'd like to defer to Manager Harline regarding.
Well, without the resolution before the board, I guess what we would have to go for is just direction from the board to continue on, and then we'll bring it back on the 8th.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the easiest way to do it, I would think. Trustee Patrick.
I do have a question about the agreement and what is covered. Currently, baseball season for Villa Park Youth Baseball League did start this week, and it is very busy. One of the better amenities that we have over by Jefferson that a lot of other communities are actually coming to us for are the batting cages that are right next to Jefferson Pool. My first question is, would that equipment and those nets and those batting cages also be covered under the equipment or what we would be responsible for upkeeping? Like the netting, the barriers for the pitching barriers that are inside. And then second of all, right now the way that those are set up, that there's big holes in some of those nets. Balls are flying out and underneath. It's presenting a safety issue. Another safety issue is that those pitching barriers are chained to the back of the pitching, and that pitching barrier can't make it close enough to make pitching safer for the pitcher throwing to the batters in the backstop there. It's too far of a distance. So my second thing would be request to make that chain, if it's there for theft reasons or whatnot, but to chain it to the front where the home plate is inside the batting cage, because that would make moving that barrier a little easier and safer for the pitchers that are in there. But then again, who is responsible for the equipment that's a part of that?
Director Gola?
Good evening, thank you. Those batting cages are the villages, so we are responsible. So I know Brian, when we take the nets down each year and then we put them back up, so we'll repair any holes. The inside the pitching barrier, those are owned by Youth Baseball, so we can see if they can chain them some different lengths. I know the farther it was, I mean, a fellow, it's pretty dangerous in there anyway, so they have to have the right barriers, because somebody could, get hit.
Absolutely, but the way that they're set up right now, the chains don't extend far enough to put those barriers closer to the batter.
And we can provide them with some materials, but that's theirs, and they don't want them to
they
disappear.
chain them.
Yeah.
There. Okay.
I believe so. Is that correct, Brian? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so the village then is responsible for the repair of the nets and everything else in there?
Yep.
Okay.
We can include the youth baseball equipment and the batting cages in the agreement if that would.
Yeah, and what we've done in the past with youth baseball as well is any damage to the bases, the pegs, if they get damaged from somebody hitting them, sliding, we'll replace those. It's part of the whole process with youth baseball, so.
And then just one last question for you. The field that's on High Ridge that we are responsible for across from Willowbrook. I know last year and the year before we are talking about the distance of the mound to the plate not being appropriate for all levels of Villa Park Youth Baseball to play at. Has that been corrected?
We've talked to youth baseball. They have some portable mounds that they'd rather use than the regular mound that's up there, the regular 60 feet 6 inches mound. I don't think, have we shaved those off? No, we haven't shaved them off yet. Typically, the older kids are using that, so we have some time with High Ridge once they get out of school, 13, 14-year-olds. So we'll have to revisit. We haven't met with youth baseball in a month or so. We'll have to revisit. But I know there's been discussions about just removing the mound altogether and then they providing those portable mounds.
I believe that it is Field 1 that's closest to the park at the Iowa Community Center. There are also no bleachers for any residents to sit on, so they're forced to sit on the ground, or if they bring chairs. Is there any way that we could provide seating as well?
Yeah, well, what we've done in the interim, right now we wanted to focus on getting the fields up because there was no agreement, and so we asked the school district for some sort of permission to get on those fields. For the baseball season started last Saturday, so we had 3 days to get the fields up, so we were focusing on that. I do believe we have additional bleachers that we could throw out there.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
If there are any other operational issues, please send us an email. We'll get them involved in the, staff will take care of it. Or and if there's something that needs to be included in agreement, either between the village and district, IGA between the village and District 45, or between the village and youth baseball, we can get that incorporated in. So at this point, we can email out the resolution, which was at one point in the agenda.
Yeah.
Or we can just proceed with direction from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Lowe.
I don't know if this is a time or place, but my time is short here, so I'm going to bring it up anyways. I do believe we had IGA with the school district at one time before. That didn't work out so well for us.
It's, in the memo it's described, we had one that last expired in 2017. The village and continued to operate under that agreement. It was, in the village's point of view, not very favorable to us. At this point, we are already, we were doing a lot of mowing, as it says in the memo, and now the district is doing that mowing. But there is mowing grass and setting up a field for baseball have different levels of skill, and although District 45 managed to do it last year, all parties agreed that it would be better for us to do it. The agreement that we have that is presented, the agreement that District 45 sent us last week, and the version that Melissa put together to just be an agreement between us and District 45. In both of them, it's a much more, at least we believe it's equitable. The District 45 board has met and discussed it, and they are generally favorable to the idea. They did not adopt it. I don't want to speak for them and say that they're going to adopt it, but I believe that we're moving in that direction. Meeting with Dr. Palmisano later this week, and we're going to try and sort out any minor details. But since we are already into the season, direction from staff, the Board of Trustees would be greatly appreciated by staff, so that we can continue to provide for youth baseball, which is the overriding goal of all of this.
I agree that the goal here is to get the kids playing in a safe environment and whatnot. I'm just concerned about stepping into another hornet's nest like we did last time, and it wasn't favorable for the village. If I recall, it was, well, let's just say it wasn't favorable. So I'd hate to see us in that position again, because the outcome wasn't very well in our favor, and cooperation was not at a level that I would have expected for an IGA between us and the school board.
Right,
So
and that's
keeping
why
that
it
in
was allowed to
mind,
explore.
I'd really like to look into it deep enough that we're comfortable that that's not going to happen again.
Okay. Our attorney just sent over a motion.
It's the actual resolution, and if we read it out loud, the board can then do a motion and adopt it. That would be sufficient. If you'd like me to read it, I can. I just emailed it to the board members, so you can see what is being resolved by this resolution.
At the pleasure of the board, if that would be, I would be happy to hear that. It hasn't come through my email
No,
yet.
mine either.
Well, why don't we give it a minute, and in the meantime, we can read the resolution out loud?
Okay.
Would you like me to read
Sure,
it?
go ahead.
Okay. Resolution of the Village of Villa Park to authorize an intergovernmental agreement with Villa Park School District 45. Whereas Villa Park School District Number 45, DuPage County, Illinois, the school district, and the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, the village, are public agencies authorized by Article 7, Section 10 of the Constitution of the State of Illinois of 1970 that provides that units of local government may contract or otherwise associate among themselves to obtain or share services and to exercise jointly, combine, or transfer any power or function in any manner not prohibited by law or by ordinance, and may use their credit, revenues, and other resources to pay costs related to intergovernmental activities. And whereas intergovernmental cooperation is further authorized by the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, 5 ILCS 220/1 et sec. The Act, and whereas the school district owns and maintains certain baseball facilities on land that it owns at Jackson Middle School, 301 West Jackson Street, Villa Park, Illinois, and Jefferson Middle School, 255 West Vermont Street, Villa Park, Illinois, the baseball facilities. And whereas the Villa Park community is in need of additional space to hold practices and games for baseball and softball teams during the spring, summer, and fall season, and whereas the village agrees to provide certain maintenance to the infield area of the baseball facilities and other activities included to prepare the infields for games in return for a reduction of the rental fees charged by the school district for the village's use of the school district's gymnasiums for other village programs, and whereas the school district and the village desire to promote participation in sporting activities, including baseball and softball, and thereby desire to enter into an agreement regarding the maintenance of the infield areas of the baseball facilities in exchange of the use of the school district's gymnasium space in order to increase accessibility and encourage athletics and recreation for the Villa Park community. Now therefore be it resolved by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois as follows. Section 1, the foregoing preambles are hereby incorporated as if fully recited herein. Section 2, it is hereby determined that it is advisable, necessary, and in the public interest that the village enter into the intergovernmental agreement with Villa Park School District Number 45 for the maintenance of the infield areas of the baseball facilities in exchange for a reduction of the rental fees charged by the school district for the village's use of the school district's gymnasiums for other village programs. Section 3, the village manager is hereby authorized and directed to negotiate and enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Villa Park School District Number 45 for the maintenance of the infield areas of the baseball facilities in exchange for a reduction of the rental fees charged by the school district for the village's use of the school district's gymnasiums for other programs, and is further authorized to execute such agreement in a form as approved by the village attorney. Section 4, this resolution shall be in full force and effect upon its passage and approval in accordance with law.
Trustee Patrick.
Just a couple of questions. First of all, if we agree to this, how long is this agreement in place for? How often until we have to redo another IGA?
Well, it depends on what is in the IGA. My recommendation would be to have it for this year and then review it at the end of the year to see how it went.
Okay, so then my follow-up question to that then would be, once the new recreation center is built and we have the gym space, the in exchange of use of the school district gymnasium space, we will not need that anymore. Is that correct?
I would say that is not correct. It'll be much reduced, but we'd still like to. We still would want to get some use because we have enough programs that the space inside a rec center would not take care of all the programming that we do indoors. Is that? Yeah, if you want to. I mean, it would drastically reduce how much, and in the agreement drafted by the District 45, they're actually proposing a cash payment of $5,000, so we could work in some sort of. So
wouldn't the creation
hang on, just a trustee. Before we continue with the discussion, can we have a motion on this first?
Yeah.
Just to allow it. Yeah.
Mr. President, I'll make that motion.
Okay. Okay. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay. So now we can go ahead.
My question then to the manager is that if we are planning on building a new recreation center that has gymnasium space, isn't the point of that to separate ourselves from any other government entities that would make us rely on them for their space?
I think that one of the purpose of that is to provide more space for recreation for our citizens, but I don't think that we're not building the recreation center because there's not enough space at District 45. There's a large number of reasons for building the recreation center. Because right now, it would be replacing some of the things we're doing at Iowa Center. It'd be a much more modern facility. There will be amenities there that we don't have, kitchen, et cetera. But, and I'll let, District Director Gola can explain better how much, the need for using District 45 courts, of course, will be diminished, but I don't think it would be, we could do everything that that we program now without some cooperation. And then, there are also some programs that aren't strictly, well, I want to get off into the other things, but I think we would still like to have some access to District 45.
So then my question is, as far as the new recreation center goes, in the previous board meetings, we have talked about whether or not the board could financially afford to expand that gym the extra 2,500 square feet. My question then is if we did have the finances to do that and we are able to do that, would that then in turn change this intergovernmental agreement around where we wouldn't have to rely on that extra 2,500 square feet? Or would we still rely on their gym space for additional programming?
Yeah, we would like to. It's not unusual for other park districts around the area to also utilize, even though they have rec centers and there's the different programming that they utilize some of the school district gymnasiums for youth practices. Usually the youth practices are after 6 o'clock and they don't go until, you don't want 8, 9, 10-year-olds practicing from 9 to 10. They should be getting ready for bed. So there's a finite amount of time for practice. I mean, there's some coaches that could probably practice at 4 o'clock depending on their work schedule, but a lot of times the peak hours are between 6 and 8. So it would be in our best interest to be able to utilize the school district gymnasiums for those peak times, and it could be 3 or 4 gyms over there that we could use in addition to the use of our facility as well. And then when you're looking at the winter, we have an adult women's volleyball league that takes up a lot of the gym space from 6 to 10. So on Thursdays, that would be limited for practices. So there's all these other different programs that are happening that we could like to use other facilities. And that's not a norm for park
And then
districts.
just so for my understanding as well, then, is there any monetary or any kind of payments outside of this agreement that will be made? Is it just strictly we take care of the fields, they give us the gym space, no additional costs?
I talked to a couple officials over at District 45, and they're still hashing all that out. So we don't know what the original draft that they sent us was $5,000 worth of gym time. That's what the draft on the IGA said. But
per month?
No, for the whole
year?
For the year.
Okay.
And so that has to be hashed out. I mean, how much? What's an equitable return? And again, the school district, they're still talking over the terms. We don't have all these specifics yet from them.
So then we would also take into consideration the amount of time that it takes our staff to work those fields and do what needs to be maintained?
I have provided them all that information on game day preparation, on rainout preparation, we do weekly maintenance from the rain and washouts. So we redo the fields, not for game days, just specific weekly maintenance. We provide staff to go after each game, like Saturday or Sunday if they're working on the weekends, or Mondays we go every day to pick up the garbage that is usually overflowing from all the people that are there. So we provide that. We provide the base pegs, home bases. We put them in. In the past, we've brought in infield mix every year, either annually or semi-annually or biannually, depending on when it's needed. So there's a lot of other things that go into it other than just the game day preparation, and we've provided them all that information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Salella.
Greg, on the same lines, you're factoring in all the different costs. What about their equipment, our equipment, the necessity of chalk lines and all the equipment it takes to do? Is that all part of this? Is that them turning their equipment over to us?
No, we have our own equipment to do that. to simplify things, we only included all the staff time and the materials, chalk, painting the outfield lines, foul lines. We did not include like wear and tear on the machinery. We didn't include the cost for fuel. That hasn't been, it's kind of hard to tell how much fuel you use, but we do use fuel 6 days a week on their fields. So there's some other costs that I asked our fleet manager if there's somehow we can figure that rate out for the machinery. So there's some other smaller costs that would add up. Rainouts, we didn't include the rainouts. If we get lucky, there won't be any additional games that we have to prep for, but invariably it always happens when we prep. We try to work with youth baseball. If the weather's outlook is bad, they'll cancel games. But sometimes when you're prepping a game and a storm will brew up and then we have to cancel a game, it starts raining during games. So then we'll have to redo the fields at a later date, so that adds to the cost. So
Is the lighting on the fields that do have lighting, is that on us currently?
yeah, well, that's at Lions. There's no other lighting.
Okay, I know Highland doesn't have any.
Yeah, it's roughed in. Eventually, we want to put lights in there, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just request from the village that we could, as a board, see the breakdown of our costs for the fields.
Sure, he's got, we can get you the cost breakdown.
We have that information, yeah.
For history, we had, when the agreement that Trustee Salela is talking about, the village used to mow their fields, and we used to set their fields, and it was, and then we got a reduction on the costs for the court time. And when it expired in 2017, when we reviewed the contract, because we were still getting, at that point, $10,000 a year from youth baseball, and that had been going on for over a decade, the village at that time wanted to renegotiate, and that renegotiation didn't go very far, and so the district and the village went separate ways. District has come back. They have in meetings apologized for some of the things that they for not understanding the total costs and are doing all the mowing. They are providing $5,000 either in cash or in kind for basketball courts as we need them in their proposed agreement. And they have, basically working with youth baseball, would come to an agreement that we are the better, that this is a skill, since we're a Parks and Recreation Department, that should be done by the village. So we've made a lot of progress. And I'm just trying to get this thing wrapped up and keep that momentum and hold that momentum and not, fall back to where we were 2 or 3 years ago. And I think this is a way to do it. That we can take care of the details like batting cages and the mounds or in the batting cages and that sort of thing. We can sort those things out, but we're a lot closer to an equitable agreement than we were in 2017, the last time we signed this agreement. And there is risk involved in all parties right now because nobody, we're all doing this out of trust, which is great until someone gets hurt in one way or another and looks to the other, and we start looking at certificates of insurance and all that sort of thing. I'd like to get these agreements in place so that we have this thing, set so that it's the responsibilities and the risks and the insurance is known as soon as possible. But in the interim, we feel comfortable letting things proceed and doing the work that our staff is very good at doing. So I feel confident that we're going to get the rest of this worked out, and I think we're pretty close. And the fact that the District 45 board has looked at an agreement and it has a dollar value associated with the what would come to the village, and the village has a Parks and Recreation Department. I'm trying to be careful here. District 45, their goal is to educate these kids. I think they have come to I think their opinion now is that supporting this recreation activity,
that isn't exactly the village's either. It's the youth baseball. They are doing the baseball program for Villa Park and neighboring, people who come into Villa Park to work with them. So getting the other parts of this together, I think, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that works out, and I think we're going to get it done. Just, whether we, with this resolution, to get the rest of it sealed up as soon as possible, I think that would be, the best step forward at this point. And then we'll bring back the agreement with the youth baseball. I'm sure that'll be easy. We've been working with them for decades without a problem.
Okay. Just goes there.
Does it make sense to vote affirmatively on a resolution to get into an agreement that we don't have the agreement for yet? Wouldn't it make sense to negotiate, have the agreement with all the discussion that's going on? Dave's got some good points and some good concerns. Trustee Patrick as well. I mean, everybody to have a look at the agreement before we...
That's up to you.
To do it?
Feel confident that we can get it done. If you want to wait and get it and then have it on the 8th, that is one way to proceed. I think staff can get this done. If you send us forward to get it done, we can also bring it back on the 8th. That's up to you guys.
I definitely want to see it done. I mean, we need to support the baseball teams. There's a lot of families that definitely rely on it. This is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to many people who want to have their kids playing baseball. So without a doubt, we need to get this done. I'm just thinking, in terms of agreements, we're just coming off another agreement that didn't go so well. It just seems like before we agree to agree, we should understand what we're agreeing to.
Do we know when the next D45 meeting is?
I think they meet May 1st. I am not sure.
Okay.
I can tell you as of Wednesday. I can probably look it up online, but we won't be able to. I mean, we don't meet till May 8th, so we could get it done. I think if we have our part together, the school district can act as quickly as they want to. I don't know that they gave Dr. Palmisano the authority to sign the final agreement, but I don't know. What, Suzanne, do you know when their next meet? I can. Oh, okay. We can.
It's in May 1st. Looks like May 1st
Yeah,
and May
I thought so.
15th. Yeah.
I think they only meet once a month, don't they?
Looks like twice a month. Yeah. Actually, I think they are off the first and the third Mondays.
Yeah, the first and the 15th.
Yeah.
So we could have this done a week earlier, or bring it back on May 8th. I'm trying to keep the May 8th agenda as small as possible also, because we've got 2 meetings and some other things. But, it is up to you. I feel confident we could get this done. But, if the board would rather proceed in the safest way possible to have both agreements brought back on May 8th, we can do that as well.
Okay. Well, right now, we've got a motion for the resolution out there.
So if the board would want to postpone this to the May 8th meeting, the board would entertain a motion on the postponement.
Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion to postpone until the agreements have been made and can be brought back to the board. Till, do we need a date specific?
Yes.
So then the date specific would be our May 8th meeting.
Okay. All right, do we have a second for that motion? Trustee Kozar?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any questions, discussion on that? Hey, Clerk Kornecki, so this is a motion to postpone until May 8th, 2023, the resolution?
Okay. Trustee Solella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazan?
Yes. Okay, so we will date specific that till May 8th and bring that back, and hopefully District 45 will have their agreement by then. Okay, we'll move on to item 10B, is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of a collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Villa Park and the Villa Park Professional Firefighters Association, Local 2392 of the International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO CLC. Manager Harline.
The attached agreement has been negotiated between the village leadership and the leadership of the local number 2392 of the International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO CLC, also known as IAFF. Over the last several months, the current version has been ratified by a vote of the members of Local 2392 and is presented for approval to the Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees. Staff recommends approval by the board. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the resolution. Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Trustee Corkery.
I'll second.
Hey, questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, Clerk Renecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Salella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
President Kazan?
Yes. Okay, item 10C is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the proposal of Damsel Services, Inc. for the purchase and installation of a 25-ton air-cooled packaged AON rooftop unit for the police department in an amount not to exceed $70,933.56. Manager Harline.
Staff recommends approving a contract with Gordian and Damsel Service, Inc. through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing for the purchase and installation of a 25-ton air-cooled packaged AON rooftop unit for the police department in an amount not to exceed $70,933.56. Funds are budgeted in the village's calendar year 2023 building fund, account number 67.502.02.401 for this project. And I don't know if you want to talk, do we have Brian Roach from the Parks and Rec and Facilities. We also have the Chief of Police, and he might be a better advocate for this proposal, but I urge that we move forward with this. If you have any questions, staff is ready to answer.
Okay, do we have a motion on the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Second, Trustee Salella? Second. Okay, any questions or comments? Oh, come on, we got to bring them up. Okay, seeing none, Clerk Renecki, please.
Yes, Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Salella?
Yes.
President Kazan?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 11A, old business. Discussion of videotaping the Parks Recreation Advisory Commission meetings. Manager Harline.
The board is asked to decide if the meetings of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee should be broadcast and streamed live and subsequently made available to the public via the village YouTube channel. By the contract with Suncom, each meeting is $300 to broadcast from village boardroom and $400, I think the information I gave Donna was wrong, it's $400, not $450 to broadcast remotely. If the board is particularly concerned about discussions of certain projects, it would be possible to broadcast those meetings if sufficient notice can be provided to Suncom, which is 48 hours in the contract. Staff has no recommendation on this. We will work with whichever way the village board wants to proceed.
Okay. Do we need a motion on this? Or is this just discussion?
You can have a motion if you want to give direction.
Okay. Since we are looking for direction, if we can have a motion on deciding whether or not to videotape the Parks and Rec Commission, we'll take a motion. Trustee Corkery?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Patrick? Okay, any discussions?
So just for clarification, this would be a motion to videotape.
To videotape, correct.
And I guess, and just point of clarification for the staff and Suncom, there are two different ways to do it. We could do it here or we could do it remotely, and, you know, there are different costs. So.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Corkery?
So I'll say that I'm in favor of recording these meetings and making them publicly available somehow. I'd definitely like to talk through the compromises that some members of the public, members of the board have brought up like audio recordings or something like that, just to make sure that the meetings are quickly available on the village's website. Given the nature of the rec center project that they're working on, I'm sympathetic to the cost argument, but at the same time, I feel like the work that our commissions do is important, and it is a part of the way the village is governed and the way that decisions are made. And I do think it's important that that be available for the public. Again, I'd be happy to talk through any compromises that want to be made, but I would like to see these made available in some form besides minutes posted after the fact.
Okay. Trustee Salella.
Yeah, I'm going to state that I'm not in favor of videotaping. I think there's other avenues that could be approached to get the pertinent information to our residents who can't attend meetings or watch it live. There's other avenues that we can present and make available to them. I don't think that every commission needs to be videotaped for that matter, but we're focusing on Parks and Rec right now, so I'm not in favor of videotaping.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Murphy.
Yes, I just would like to mention a few things and hopefully get clarification from Director Gola on something else. I am also not in favor of videotaping the meetings, and I am the liaison for that commission. There was information in the email. Melissa White sent that email to all of the trustees. There were a few pieces of information that I believe were in error. Primarily, the first one suggesting that Parks and Rec Commission is making decisions on multi-million-dollar projects. I don't believe that to be true, and I have been at every meeting. So just as a point of clarification, if that's what they're hoping to accomplish from these videos, Director Gola has given us some other alternatives for getting the information about these multi-million-dollar projects to the public, irregardless of videotaping the commission. And I do think that's critical. I think it's critical that we update the projects, but that's not information that's videotaped in these commission meetings. And Director Gola, if you could provide clarification, it's my understanding that the commission meetings are already audio taped. Is that not true?
Yes, one of our commissioners is compromised with health, so with COVID, he's been participating at home via Zoom meetings, basically. So they are recorded on Zoom, yes.
And would it be a feasible alternative to be able to post the audio of those meetings that are currently being recorded?
We would have to investigate and see what the, if that would be, yes. We'd have to find out. I can't answer that right now.
But they are audio taped. Thank you.
Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. I have two questions. I have one for our village attorney and one for our Parks and Recreation Commission chairperson. The first, to our chairperson, who's in the audience here, what has been the commission's involvement as an advisory commission so far to date regarding our new recreation center? And then my question to the village attorney is, could you explain in the Open Meetings Act if there is anything that prohibits anybody from the general public videoing or taping any public meeting? Those are my questions.
So my question was...
Could you just give your name, George, please?
Jorge Cordova. My question was, what involvement?
So we were told that the commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, is an advisory commission. And Trustee Murphy says that they're, because of Melissa White's email, that they have not been a part of that decision-making process. What conversations have been had in PRAC meetings regarding the commission, and how were those, your advisory given back to the board?
Yeah. So basically what happens is Director Goyle comes in, he tells us what has happened in the last month of meetings with Olson or the architects. These are the things that we're going to bring to the board. We say, great, that's it. We're not talking about moving a wall or colors or grass. We're just asking questions as to, do you have blueprints? Is that going to be presented here? What kind of questions can we have? What can we do to help champion the the recommendations that they're going to have. So we can't strike anything down, we can't bring anything up.
So then my question to you is then, as the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission to the board, your commission has had no involvement in the discussions about the new recreation center that we are having in town?
No, that'd be silly. What are you asking? Like,
I'm asking
the kind of questions that we get, or what we're
I'm
offering?
asking what the involvement is, what kinds of discussions have been had in the PrAC meetings related to the new recreation building?
Yeah, so Greg will come to us with conversations that he's had with architects or with, I can't remember his name, but 3D Design, and say, these are the things that we've talked about, here is the blueprints, or here are the blueprints that we are going to be presenting, and we say, that looks great. And then we have a meeting here, and that gets presented.
So as an advisory commission, there's really not much to advise the board on regarding a recreation building from...
We rarely come up here. I mean, I've been up here to intro, conversations with architects, but I've never come up here and said, I recommend that we build a building or that we add 2,500 square feet.
What about programming?
So we're not in the operations of the Parks and Rec division or, group. So as far as like...
Well, then I'm just, if we're an advisory commission, what are we advising to the board? What have we advised to the board about Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, so they'll come to us and say, hey, here are two options from pool pass pricing. We have all these different updates and, just updates to what they're doing. Brian gives us a rundown of all the projects that he's been working on in the last month. Gina comes in and tells us how many people signed up for the different programs, but we don't say, do an Easter egg hunt with golden, eggs or anything like that. So they're coming to us with their ideas from their staff, and then what we're doing is saying, would it be cool or would it be different if we did this? And if they say yes, they go back to staff, they come back and say, yes, that's something we want to do. And we say, great. And then they present it to you all. You guys say yes or no, and then it works from there.
So in your own opinion then, do you think the members of the Parks and Recreation Committee would enjoy or like having more of a say-so in talking about those recreation developments that are having in town?
I mean, what do you mean? Like, what am I excited about being on the Parks and Rec advisory?
What I'm asking is if the commission members or yourself would like a bigger role in that, in deciding, talking about how our action plans meet the needs and services of the community that are going into a recreation building.
Like on a greater stance of like a park district board,
Well,
or?
so far, what I'm saying is, so far, all I've heard that the Parks and Recreation Committee is advising to us is about pool passing prices. And if that's all that is done in that commission over an entire year, I think that's a waste of our resources, and that we should empower you with more duties and decisions, especially if we're relying on Parks and Recreation Commission to advise us as a board of what the public wants regarding Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, so I think two things in that question. Number one, you're right, you should, as a board, empower the commissions to be able to make decisions and bring them to you. That's not quite what we're doing on that board, and we have a statement, I believe, on the website that tells you what we're doing. People come to us, they complain about a hole in the batting cage. We go back and say, hey, Greg, can you take a look at that? There's graffiti somewhere. We kind of do those things, but we don't have any.
Do those things have to go to a committee first before they're addressed by?
No, sometimes, most of the time, they just send Greg an email and he comes to us and says, hey, somebody wrote some graffiti on the skate park, and Brian's team went out and cleaned it up. I'm like, all right, that's great.
So in your opinion, then, would you see no benefit at all for Parks and Recreation Commission meetings to be recorded?
Look, I haven't really been to other commission meetings. I'm not sure if they're coming back and, providing ordinances or, asking you all for more money or anything like that. So maybe I need to get a little bit more involved, and I will be, next month, to see what the powers of the commissions can be. And if there is an appetite on the board to give them more power to do that, then I'm all for it.
Thank you. Thank
Cool.
you.
Any other questions?
My last question is for the village attorney, is if you could clarify what the Open Meetings Act says about recording public meetings.
Yes, the public body may be recorded. Any open meeting of the public body, including a commission or a committee of a public body, may be recorded by any individual, subject to only limited restrictions related to like witness testimony. And of course, if there's any closed meeting discussion held by that public body.
So then you're saying that the expectation for any public meeting is that it can be recorded and that every individual in that room could potentially expect to be recorded. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
The Open Meetings Act allows for that. The public body may make rules with respect to that recording, but not to prohibit the recording, but just so that there's order at the meeting.
Thank you.
Trustee Slow.
Recording, yes. What about rebroadcasting? Does that fall into any type of legality?
The Open Meetings Act just addresses the fact that the meetings may be recorded.
But are they useful if they, I mean, they're not going to be useful if they can't be rebroadcast or shared legally?
There's no prohibition on the sharing of a public meeting.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
How many members are on the Parks and Rec? Or commission members?
Seven. So, yeah.
One open, sorry.
Yeah, there's 7 spots, 6, or, yeah.
There are 7 spots, though. So,
Okay. What's the next date of the meeting?
Second Tuesday of every month.
Okay, so that's, right.
yeah, be May 11th would be, May 11th.
Or something?
I'm sorry, Tuesday, yeah, May 9th. Looking at Thursday. Okay.
I'd like to go to the next meeting and address the members and have a more detailed conversation to get a better understanding. I know that we've got the usual suspects who come and talk at the meetings, which is Cheryl Tucker, who is part of it, and Donna Noxon, but there's 5 other members on there that we haven't heard from. I'd like to go to that meeting and talk to them and see if I can get a better understanding of why the reluctance to share whatever goes on, and it sounds like not much happens in those meetings. And if that's the case, that's too bad, because to Trustee Patrick's point, you're meeting once a month, everybody's spending time. We should, in all our commissions, have something substantial being done there, or substantive being done there. So, I would like to have that conversation with the members. So I would like to just make a motion to, the next meeting is the 8th, so we have a COW on the 8th. The meeting after the 8th would be the...
22nd.
What is it?
22nd.
22nd. I'd like to table this until the 22nd and have that broader conversation. So my motion is to table this 11A to May 22nd.
Okay.
Just a technicality, it's a motion to postpone to May 22nd. That's,
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a second? Trustee Patrick?
I'll second that.
Questions or discussion? Hey, Clerk Konecki.
Okay, to postpone. Okay, Trustee Silella?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
No.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
No. Okay, so that passes, so we will move that to the second meeting in May, the 22nd. Okay, item 12, public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have anyone signed up?
I have
Clerk
no
Konecki?
one.
Donna.
Oh, wait, well, yeah, I think Donna wanted to, but I don't have anything.
I don't know if I'll be here next week, so I would like to take time to thank Dave and Christine for their commitment and passion over the years, serving as our trustees on the village board. Through their years of serving, they always have listened to residents' input and/or ideas. They have always made the best decisions solely on the residents' behalf. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Okay.
And a little something for Dave and Christine.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not cold this time.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Donna. That was very nice of you.
Thanks, Don.
Okay, item 13, new business. Does anyone have anything for new business? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to village commission reports. And this is just for information. Item 14A, the Environmental Concerns Commission, the Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee. 14B is the Historical Preservation Commission. 14C is the Community Fund Commission. And 14D is the Video Production Commission. So everyone has seen their reports in there. Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to accept these reports as listed.
Okay. We have a second on that? Trustee Corkery?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Questions, comments? Clerk Konecki?
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Salella,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Murphy,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
President Casal.
Yes. Okay, item 15, the village clerk's report.
I have no report, thank
No
you.
report. Okay, village trustees report. We will start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I do have a few things to talk about. First of all, the Villa Park Video Production Commission will be filming the Villa Park Sonic Cruise Nights starting Monday nights from 5 to 9 p.m., starting May 15th to September 25th. So Sonic, right on Roosevelt Road there by Burlington Coat Factory, will be having the cruise nights, and it will be filmed and produced by the Villa Park Video Production Commission. With that being said, the Villa Park Production Commission will also be filming the upcoming 4th of July parade being hosted by the VFW in conjunction with the Villa Park Chamber of Commerce in the village here. And with that being said, there are still, they are accepting donations and also looking for participants this year. And you could find more information out here at Village Hall, or you can go to the Villa Park VFW, even the Chamber of Commerce for more information. One thing that I will say is that after COVID and not having a 4th of July parade, the last one that was hosted was a very exciting event to have come back to the community after such a long delay, and having an event like that. And I know that we are all hard at work trying to make this even more of an exciting parade for Villa Park. So 4th of July, the parade starts at 10 a.m. And if you are looking to be a sponsor, please visit the VFW for more information. Also, I would like to congratulate the School District 45 and the FTC for hosting the Taste of District 48 this evening. Thank you to all of the volunteers and the restaurants that participated in that. And some of our local restaurants that did participate in that were Highview Restaurant, I Heart Fries, Michael Anthony's, Simon's Restaurant, Dak Dak Korean Wings, Dominic's Pizza, Giordano's, Gulliver's, Lazy Dog, Michael Anthony's, and Tijuana Flats. It was a great fundraising effort, and thank you to all that attended and supported that. Lastly, I would like to, well, a couple things. I'd like to again give a shout out to our first responders. If you do have a police radio out there and you listen to it regularly, you could understand that both our police and fire departments are running constantly, and you could even in the news these days see some of that. So thank you for being out there. Thank you for doing what you do. It's not an easy job all the time, but you come to work and you do your job for us. So thank you for that. And then earlier we mentioned Villa Park Youth Baseball League is in season. This weekend was opening season. And I just want to congratulate the Villa Park Bulldogs for beating the Addison Athletics on opening day 19-3. Good job. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
We expect scores every week,
You got it.
It would be great. Love it. A couple of weeks or meetings ago, our board had voted to allow residents, if they're interested, to participate in No Mow May for environmental concerns, pollinators, things of that sort. I've gotten a number of emails and people asking if there's any signs or anything to indicate that. And this year, village-wide, we don't, but myself and a couple other people were going to order some signs from Vistaprint. They're between $3 and $5. If anybody would like a sign, send me an email. My email's on the website, but it's trusteekozar@invillapark.com. So if you would like one, reach out so we know how many to order. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Solella.
Yeah. Being this is one of my, or is my last official meeting.
No, you got me here on the 8th.
I'll be here on the 8th, but I don't know if I have the opportunity to speak at that meeting, being we're changing of the guards. But it's been several years I've been involved with Villa Park, and it's been a great experience. I hope I've made a difference in some avenues. I know I've met a lot of great people, some residents I did know, some people I didn't know, but I feel like I've really got to know our village of Villa Park quite well. And it's been an honor serving up here. I'm going to miss it. Yes, no, but more yes. It's challenging at times, but it's worth it. So thanks for all your support, and I hope the best for the new coming board. I hope it goes as well. I hope you all continue to work forward and hard for our village and our residents. So thank you. Lastly, I'd like to say happy 40th anniversary to my wife. I love you. It's today, and I'm here.
Oh, wow. There you go. Thanks. Trustee Corkery.
No report this week.
Okay. Trustee Murphy?
I have no report, thank you.
No report, okay. Village President's report, a few things. First off, thank you to Trustee Solella and Murphy for your hard work in all these years. Like Trustee Solella said, it's a challenge sometimes, but it's a good challenge, and when things work out, it's excellent. So thank you for your hard work.
You're welcome.
Manager Harline and I spent a couple days down in Springfield last week. DuPage Managers and Mayors Conference, the drive down to Springfield. Our biggest issue is the LGDF, the Local Government Distributive Fund, which was originally set up for 10% of income taxes would come back to local governments. The state of Illinois pared that down to 6% a few years ago, and DMMC has been fighting to get that back up, even incremental every year. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of money that even a 1% difference in it going from 6 to 7% would make. If the state decides to go to 7%, we would have enough money to fund the running track at the new rec center. So, like I say, a lot of people don't understand how important this is, and I'm recommending that get in contact with your state senator, who's Susie Glowiak Hilton, and our state representative, Diane Blair Sherlock, and just really ask them to push for an increase in the LGDF. It's a major fundraiser for a lot of towns, especially smaller towns, small rural towns. Excuse me, they get a lot of their funding from this, but it would definitely help Villa Park. So contact your local reps and senators and tell them you'd like to see us get more money. This Saturday, April 29th, in honor of Earth Day, there will be a Prairie Path cleanup starting at 9 o'clock. You can go to www.ipp.org for information, or you can email info@ipp.org for more information, but they are always in need of volunteers, and this is a great way to clean up the Prairie Path. And Coffee with the Board will be May 6th. We will have it up here, 9 o'clock, first Saturday of the month. So hope this, I'm sorry?
May 6th?
Yes, May 6th, yeah, which is the first Saturday in May. So 9 o'clock up here in the boardroom, and hope to see you here. And we will go to the village manager's report.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I think it was already alluded to earlier, but at 10 a.m. on Friday at North Terrace Park, we'll be celebrating Arbor Day and planting a white swamp oak. And you are all invited to join us. Is there a particular place at North Terrace Park? It's not that big, but I mean.
The parking's off of Westmore.
Yeah, probably, okay. Parking a lot off of Westmore. And we also just, I think I've emailed everyone here, May 8th, there'll be two meetings. There'll be a meeting of the existing board, one, maybe two items. Well, first we would like to hold a cow, which a committee of the whole, and of course you guys will be invited. We've got a couple projects, a couple subjects that we'd really like to get pushed forward. One is the sanitary sewer sharing cooperation project. We have some things that are in the code right now that prevent us from making some of the making some adjustments to that. And then I think the other was it could be pretty quick, a recommendation on the portion of the what our desire to desire to have a percent of green energy in any full requirements purchase we do through NIMEC. So we'll have some information about that. Then we'll have the old board meeting, and then that'll adjourn, short meeting of the new board, probably one or two items. And then after that, there will be a reception at the golf course. So we hope that you guys can make it and make a big deal about both the service of trustees Murphy and Salela, who are leaving, and our trustees-elect Alfano and Cordova. So,
and Patrick.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, and Patrick. Sorry, yes. Yeah, yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. You all worked hard to get elected, and we're looking forward to working together as a team. And I think that is it.
Okay. We had executive session on the agenda. However, since we voted on the fire department contract, we will not go into executive session tonight. So we will move to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Kozar?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, second. Trustee Salela?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. So we will close, and we will see everyone back here on May 8th. So have a great week.